Hi, this is Jem Alexander with the Square Enix blog. Recently I went over to Denmark to IO Interactive to talk to them about this guy, Agent 47, and his new game, Hitman Absolution. I took a couple of interviews with the guys over there, as well as a studio tour, which we'll be seeing a lot more of later. But for now, here's Christian to talk about the new game. So what are you announcing today?
Yeah, we've been announcing a game we've been eagerly anticipating sharing to everyone, which is Hitman Absolution. It's been a long wait for us. The whole team out there is really excited about this. It's kind of something when you've worked so long on a project, you really want to share it with the rest of the world, right? Mm-hmm. And we also know that we have a lot of fans who are really eagerly anticipating hearing something from us about the new game.
So what's new in Absolution?
Well, a lot of stuff is new, right? It's obviously it's an evolution of the Hitman game and of the franchise. Mainly, the first new thing is that we built a new engine, a new technology called Blazer 2, which allows us to do a lot of stuff that we always wanted to do but we couldn't do before. And that is not only in the sense that we can do stuff that's more beautiful or we can do our storytelling better. It's also because we can develop the game in another way. We have much faster iteration times. We can work a lot with kind of making our creative process much more fluid and transparent, which we couldn't before. And in a Hitman game where we're simulating real life and we're doing a lot of complex stuff, that is really helpful to us.
So how have you tried to keep that idea of choice for the player, that the player has lots of different ways to get through each mission?
Oh yeah, I mean choice is at the heart of everything for us. It's kind of one of the cornerstones of, I think, not only this game but the Hitman franchise, right? And so for us it was super important that when we developed this game, we tried to make the choice that was always there much more clear to the players. So that we said that for a choice to be meaningful, you had to understand kind of what am I choosing and what will be the consequences of what I choose. So how do I go about solving a problem? Do I do a silent takedown? Do I do a distraction? What do I do, right? I can also turn it into combat. But you kind of get a clear picture about how many people will get affected by this. Can I contain the situation? Stuff that was not immediately transparent in the old games. We really took a big effort at trying to make that clear to the player, that what roughly is happening, and communicating that back to you so you can make some better decisions, basically, right?
Can you tell us a little bit about Instinct? That's new as well, right?
Oh yeah, we have a new feature in Hitman Absolution called Instinct. It is very much, as we talked about with choice, it's very much a tool for the player to help them make better decisions. So it's a new ability that Hitman has that allows him to do multiple things. First and foremost, it allows him to kind of sense where his enemies would be, even through walls, kind of seeing the world through the eyes of an assassin. And then it allows him also to predict the paths the AI are going to take, which again allows him to kind of make his plans right. If someone is coming for you, you can dodge left instead of just heading into him. Again, trying to eliminate this trial and error gameplay and making it more into this grayscale thing where you're not entirely sure what's going to happen, but you feel you have some, again, choice and some control of the situation. And then finally, Instinct is also tied to almost all abilities that Hitman has in the game. So imagine that you wear a disguise. Well, Instinct will be a mechanic in there that will help you be better at disguises than you've been in previous games. You can do stuff, you can impersonate characters on a whole new level. And likewise, for every kind of core mechanic in the game, Instinct will play its part, and it will be this kind of economy that Hitman will kind of earn and spend by being true to what a Hitman is. By being true to a Hitman, right? Playing like a Hitman, killing people silently, doing clean headshots and all that stuff. That will tie into this Instinct economy. Instinct, the way it's shown to the player is in the 3D space, right? Mm-hmm. So we really wanted to move as much attention out in the real world, since we have an incredibly lively AI, right? And we have a lot of interesting environments. We wanted the player to be there and not playing the game via the map. So we have Instinct as this information layer, and we have a sort of a mini-map that will also give you some handy tips. But mainly you will be using Instinct to kind of navigate the situations, right? Yeah, really big for us, that move, that shift from a 2D game almost to kind of really looking at the environment.
So will the newspaper clippings be making a return to Absolution?
No, the newspaper clippings are out of Hitman Absolution, but we still maintain our rating system, which means that at the end of the level we will still kind of evaluate how you fared in the level, whether you were kind of a maniac or you were the kind of silent assassin that a lot of people will strive to become, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that part is intact, and we will also kind of update you as you play the game, not only at the end of the level, but during gameplay on how you're faring, how roughly is your rating, how good are you at stealth at the moment, how good are you at action bits, if that's what you're doing.
So how important is story to Absolution?
Story is very important. It's again, in terms of what is new in Hitman, I think the fact that this time the story for Hitman is a bit more personal, and you get to see a little bit more of his character as he comes under pressure and he actually finds himself in situations where things really matter to him. That makes the story obviously very important. That's also part of what we wanted to do with this new technology. We wanted to be able to tell stories on another level than what we did previously. So yeah, storytelling, and well, obviously for Hitman, I can't get into the story in detail yet. I can't wait to share it, but it's coming, right. But also for the characters, I mean, part of what makes the game worlds very come to life in Hitman is all the characters that inhabit the space around Hitman, right? And they do all sorts of stuff. They have their own stories. They have a lot of stuff to tell. They have a dark humor side that we really love and all that stuff. And that's also a big part of what we're doing this time in Hitman Absolution. We're building AI that can on one hand be this kind of in this ambient state where they're doing storytelling, and then they can gradually escalate as the situation gets worse, or if Hitman is screwing up and making mistakes, they will get alerted, right? They'll get, if there's a villain, they'll get scared. If they're kind of more enemy AI, they will try to either arrest you or outright kill you in the end, right? But before that, they're actually people, and they have small stories to tell you if you sneak around and kind of voyeuristically look at the world that way.
So how does it fit into the franchise? Is it a direct sequel to Blood Money?
It takes place not long after Blood Money, so in that sense it is the story just continues. But again, after this period, it's fair to say that it also takes a new direction, right? As we talked about, it gets more personal. So I guess you'll know the whole backstory, and this will just bring it forward. And also I think it will send the franchise in a little bit of a new direction that way.
So how have you kept the hardcore fans happy while still making it approachable to a new audience?
Yeah, that's the big one, right? Because we really wanted all the stuff that was super cool in the old Hitman games to be available for more people without dumbing down the core Hitman game. So we took a lot of steps, as I talked about, in making the game more approachable by making the choices you make much clearer, and making the situations more kind of make it easier for you to get an overview, and then also consequently make it easier for you to kind of contain them if you made an error, right? So on that hand, we built a lot of systems to kind of help casual players ease them into the game and feel powerful. And the same ideology we can actually use for the hardcore players as well, because at the heart of it, we really wanted it to be so that using the fiber wire or using all of the new things that Hitman can do is at the heart of it, it's very easy. It's not doing it, execution, that's not the hard part. It's setting you up in the right spot, doing it without getting caught, all that stuff, that's the hard part, right? So for hard players, playing on harder difficulties, we can really up the ante for these guys, having sinister patrol patterns and also challenge systems that dare them to do things that are really, really hard, like aiming for the silent assassin rating and all that stuff. That will be brutally hard. And obviously that's where we kind of, we are still very much in touch with our hardcore fan base. We know they kind of like it hard, so we really need to have a pretty wide difficulty range in the game.
Do disguises make a return in Hitman Absolution?
Oh yeah, definitely. As a lot of other core gameplay systems, the disguise gameplay is kind of getting a new iteration here. It's kind of, again, taking a leap in generations. So it's going to be definitely back. It's one of our core features. It's going to be much more analog, if you will, much more impersonating someone, taking on their disguise, and then walking around the environment, and then kind of feeling your way of how credible am I, what's going on, and again, tied to the instinct power, it will be quite powerful in fooling the AI if you have enough instinct to do so. So it's going to be a very prominent feature, and it's going to feel closer to the fantasy, I would call it, of being in a disguise. I think we're really happy about the direction it took this time.
Using disguises and instinct in tandem, I noticed you could actually listen to people's thoughts.
Yeah, we wanted, again, this is kind of trying to get storytelling in there as much as possible. We played around with a lot of different prototypes of this, and we ended up with one where we kind of listen to the people that you're actually fooling by your impersonation, and it gives us this kind of very clear feedback to the player that these guys were suspicious, but that it kind of lifts, and then you now know, okay, it's good, I can let go, I fooled them. So it was again about kind of protecting some of these characters and making them come to life that way. Yeah.
So hopefully now you know a lot more about Hitman Absolution. We've got a lot more to tell you, however, so keep checking back to the Square Enix members blog in the coming months. We'll also have that studio tour I mentioned for you very soon.